Here we have Megan read from Rumi. Here is another Rumi quote for us to consider. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in the grass, the world is too full to talk about. So I need to say that again. The world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. Yeah, thank you. Reminding of the poet and philosopher, Rumi. Let's see, I've already felt some synchronicities today, and my opening line is, if we didn't have feelings, we'd be robots. Right? If we didn't have feelings, we'd be robots. Like we would not be human beings. One of the characteristics of being human is that we feel things. And in fact, sometimes we like to think, well, I experience things, but I don't think we experience things.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Coffee and go. It's because we experienced that. It wasn't just something that happened. It wasn't just somebody on a phone saying something. Like, we had an experience of that. We had this laughter, we had this joy. So it's not about having an experience, it's about the feeling we have about the experience. Right? I mean, it can't be another way. I was thinking of getting a hole-in-one on the golf course. Have you ever gotten a hole-in-one, anybody? What a feeling that was, right? You remember it today. I've never got a hole-in-one on the golf course, but my dad has, and I was with him when he had a hole-in-one. And he wasn't a really expressive man, but I could see the grin when he picked it up out of the cup. You know, like he had an experience, and I had an experience because I was with them. And I have that feeling. It made an impression on me because of the way I felt about it, not just that I saw a hole-in-one. Well, yeah, it was a hole-in-one. I mean, or how about this? Birthing a baby. Birthing a baby, or being a new parent and holding your child for the first time. I mean, is that an experience? Yes. It's an experience because of the way you feel about it, though. It's not just that the thing happened, it's how you feel about it. I've never had that experience. I can only imagine it, and I can see what it does to that person holding that baby, whether it's a mother, a father, or a grandmother, or a grandfather, to see that. It's the feeling of it, not just that they're doing it. You can see that. How about going to seeing one of your favorite bands in concert? There's a feeling. When I was thinking about this, I was remembering the time when I was in college. I went to Penn State University, and my friends and I were all about the Talking Heads. This was long ago, maybe some of you don't remember. Talking Heads stopped making sense. The whole thing. They were playing at the Philadelphia Zoo. They played at the zoo. And we got in a car and went to Philadelphia from the middle of Pennsylvania and saw the talk. I don't remember everything that happened for a lot of reasons. But it was a feeling. It was the feeling of being there at the zoo with David Byrne and the band. You know, it was amazing. It was great. There's a feeling when Renee and I first worked together. She wanted a convertible. And we were in that honeymoon stage. So I thought, wow, I'll just get her a convertible, right? And I bought her a used Miata convertible. And I surprised her with it, though. I left it, I got it, went to the service station that we used, and they made sure everything was good, and I rused her into going over there to do something for me, and she got this convertible. And she got to drive it home from Black's Tire with this grin on her face, with her hair in the air. I mean, that was an experience, right, Renee? It wasn't just, oh, I got a convertible. It was the experience of having that thing, and it was red, and it was, you know, it was fabulous. It was fabulous. She loved that thing. She loved that thing. It's the experience of it. It's the experience. It's the experience of getting a hug. To really feeling what that feels like. It's not just that somebody put their arms around you, but you really have the feeling of it. And so I want to remind us that it's not the experience we have, it's how we feel as we engage in that activity. Our feelings also include feelings like anxiety, hopelessness, discouragement, being discouraged. There's joy and anger. There's relief and tension. There's satisfaction and doubt. There's ease and discomfort. I think they all require our attention. The way we feel has something to tell us, has something to impress upon us. Because the bad feelings and the hard feelings are not there to get rid of. And the good feelings are not there to hold on to. Megan kind of talked about that in the opening prayer. I'm feeling this way and I'm feeling this way. To feel what that feels like. That's the idea, is not to get rid of the bad ones and hold on to the good ones. How could we ever do that? We were bowling on Saturday. It was a blast. There were 10 kids there. Their moms were there. The adults were there. We spent 2 hours at the bowling alley. We were having fun. That feeling doesn't last forever. We had it. And it impressed upon us. And the feeling of being together and making connection and seeing the strikes and the spares and the dancing on the lane and the jumping up and down and the clapping. That was that experience because of the way we felt about it. Not just that it happened. That's the human characteristic that we have. And I think what happens when we have experience, when we feel what it feels like to have that experience, it transforms us. Those things have an impression on us. And the idea with feelings that I've come to understand this week as I was rolling this over is we're there to have them and to let them through. Or it's not an intention to hold on to one feeling all the time, forever and ever, no matter which one it is. Is it grief, forever and ever? Is it bowling joy, forever and ever? No, it's kind of this passing through thing and having the experience of it by feeling what it feels like, whatever the feeling is. Where's that? Am I starting to make sense? Ask that robot here. It starts to let them come and let them go. Let me give you a couple more examples in my life. You know, I had cancer in 1994. I had this harebrained idea after I was done with radiation and chemotherapy and surgery and everything. I wanted to go see the Grand Canyon. I don't know where that idea came from, but it came to me. And so I traveled alone, which I wasn't used to traveling alone that distance from the Washington, D.C. area. And I took the flight, and I brought a new backpack, and I had all the stuff in it. I couldn't even lift it up. I was on the floor in the airport trying to get the bag on, like this, you know. And then I couldn't stand up, and people were, you know, it was crazy. But I had all that, and I went to the Grand Canyon. I camped at Oak Creek Canyon, north of Sedona, south of the Grand Canyon, and I was so excited I was going to see the Grand Canyon. And I got there, I set up my tent because I was camping there. I got in this little bus out to that runs out to where the edge of the canyon is, and I said to the guy, well, where is it? He said, well, right over there. See how I remember this stuff? This is how the experience felt to me. The feeling of it is still there. It made this impression on me, and I looked at the Grand Canyon after having this year of cancer, and I looked at the Grand Canyon, and tears just started rolling down my face with the beauty of the Grand Canyon and that I was alive to see it. It wasn't just, I saw the Grand Canyon. There was this whole experience of it. And it made an impression because of the way I feel and the way I felt. as much of an impression as the doctor calling me the day after my in his office surgery to tell me, yes, you do have cancer. I remember that too, because of the way it made me feel. Not that just thought I got a phone call. Are you getting this? Are you getting this?
Yes.
Let me read. Yes, okay, good. Let me read from a book called 5 Things We Cannot Change by David Richo. Let me read this. Feelings are bodily reactions that are the healthy, built-in technologies for dealing with life's jolts. Those are all life jolts. Whether they are exuberance or pain, they're life jolts. In other words, nature made us feel so we could evolve. Nature made us feel so we could evolve. And we evolve by being more human, not less. We evolve by being more human and not less. I mean, that's it. I mean, here's what I believe, and you can believe it or not, but I believe this. My soul, an eternal, no beginning, no end spiritual thing, decided to inhabit the infinite, decided to inhabit a finite body. Like, that's what I think is happening for us. So why? Why would the infinite decide to embody a finite thing? And I'm saying to experience life. To experience life, to feel all of it. No matter what it is, what we call good or what we call bad. To experience all of it. Here's what I think the soul says. Listen, finite body of yours, Paula. I got your back. I got your back. You can't do anything wrong. I want you to feel everything that I want you to feel it all. I want you to feel as much as you can feel. And then at the end, eternity. I'm like, hey, soul, that sounds really good. That sounds all of it though, not just the good stuff, but all of it. I think you got to be pretty brave to sit with it all. I think you have to be pretty brave to sit with all your feelings, and that's what I'm asking us to consider, is to sit with them, to be with them, to allow them to move, and to see what happens then. Let me read again from David Richo. To feel is to activate our capacity to be touched, to be moved, and changed by events, nature, and people. That's our ability. He's saying it's our capacity for that. Witnessing our feelings about and our reactions to circumstances means not being caught up in them, not taking them too personally or too seriously, not being possessed by them, not being devastated by them, not being stopped or driven by them. Our purpose is not to repress or indulge our emotions, but to allow them so fully, that they move through us and go to ground. That is, they are resolved. Or even to go back to the earth as we will. What a way to think about feelings. What a way to but that isn't what happened with us a lot of times. You know what we do with feelings that are uncomfortable, that make us totally shove them down, ignore them, pretend they're not there. It's too hard. It's too hard with those difficult ones. We want to pretend they don't matter even. It's just a feeling. It's just a feeling. They get stuck in us. They're there. They don't move through. What Richo is suggesting, I think, is brilliant, is that we'll be brave enough to sit with those hard things and in the process allow them to move through us. Allow them to... What if I would have expected that my entire life after I saw the Grand Canyon in beauty that I would never had another feeling but that because it felt so good? That's unreasonable. To have it and allow it to move through me and to move me. But we have a fear. We have a fear. Sometimes we don't want to even show our feelings because we don't want to be called stupid or weak or are, not good enough. If you show this kind of thing, you're a weak person because you're showing that kind of feeling. What? The fear of it. Or the resistance. Here's another reason we don't like to show our feeling or feel it for ourselves. We don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to get too uncomfortable. We want to stay in our comfort zone. Yeah. Those are the ways we deal with it rather than sitting with them. Allowing them to move through, letting them to go to ground, and letting them to be resolved. But here's the thing about that. Here's the thing first. It's saying yes to them all. Covering them up, pushing them down, ignoring them, pretending them that they aren't there, is saying no, I'm not dealing with this feeling. Nope. Still there. Didn't get rid of it, didn't go to ground. Still there, in me. And then we wonder why we have dis-ease in ourselves. We wonder why there's tension in our body. We wonder, we're storing that energy in us. But we think, well, it's just a feeling. I don't want to deal with it. No, saying yes is being brave to sit with it. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. But the thing is, you have to trust yourself. Because sitting there is uncomfortable. It can be more than uncomfortable. But let's just use that word. Or I'm just using that word. Most of us have not tried just sitting in and through a feeling experience. This is what he said. Most of us, for those difficult ones, have not just tried sitting in and through a feeling experience. We have not trusted ourselves enough to let our feelings take their full course. So we never find out that a feeling is not so tough on us as we imagine it will be. We miss out on how much better we feel when we let go instead of hold back. He says nothing is so hard to handle as the fear of facing it. Of facing it. Of facing the feeling that I have that is this. That is that. Yes, to feelings. And we have to trust ourselves, trust that we can handle it. I think we don't believe in our strength to trust that we can handle it. We can do that. You can do that. I can do that. We can trust ourselves to sit there. We are not going to fall over broken. We have the soul. Remember the soul that I was talking about? We have that soul that says, I got your back. I have your back. I want you to have it. I want you to have all this experience because you know what this is going to do? This is going to expand and fulfill your life in ways that you have no idea that it will. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen with. Here's a quote from Haruki Murakami. And he uses the word storm in this quote. And I'm going to substitute this word feeling in here for you. Okay? So it goes like this. And once the feeling is over, you won't remember how you made it through, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure whether the feeling is really over. But one thing is certain. When you come out of that feeling, when you ground that feeling, you won't be the same person who walked into that feeling. That's what the feeling is all about. He uses the word storm. That's what these grief and disappointment and anger is about. That's what, self-doubt and hatred and feeling resentful is about. How about sitting in that resentment for a while? How about just sitting with resentment and not being afraid you'll turn into a monster? Just sit with it. Let it make its impression and let it be grounded. Let it move through you. That's a little scary to sit too long in resentment. But that's the advice. I won't be the same coming out of it, is the thing. This is how I grow. This is the work that helps us grow. How we grow as humans. How we grow as human beings. Because we are human. We are a soul, but we are human beings here. And this is how we experience life, through the way we feel about what we experience. That's what I've come to understand this week. And evolving that way and getting to the point where I am stronger about that and more confident about that and not afraid of that, I have the chance to live the most meaningful life is what I think. I have the chance to live the most meaningful life. And not just for me. See, here's the thing about it. And I've talked about it here before, this idea of oneness. When I am my best, when I can get to that point, then I can be in service to the whole. And that's the big thing. You know, we do this work here and it's me, and it's work on me, but it's not just for me. It's for the whole. It's for all of it. It's for the friends, it's for the neighbors, it's for the community, it's for humanity. It's for humanity. Could you believe that? I mean, could you believe that the work I do for me is for humanity? That's what I'm saying. And it matters. It matters. It's called this work then making it mean something beyond me, beyond my skin. I think we're the brightest light when we do that, when we are willing to sit with those hard emotions. We have a book study that'll be finishing up this coming week, and one of the people, we were talking about something different, but one of the people on there had the term, our beautiful brokenness. How to sit with our brokenness, our beautiful brokenness, and allow it to move us through. I haven't talked much about the euphoria and the excitement piece and not getting stuck and attached to that one either, and allowing it just to move through. Make its impression and move on. Make its impression and move on. Our beautiful brokenness. I love that way. Thank you, Sharon. She's not here today. But Sharon, thank you. And there's different ways to do this. There's not one way. It's not that I'm telling you, go home and sit in your chair and this is what you do. Here's an example of that. An NPR journalist, his name is Adrian Ma. His girlfriend, Kaya Dugans, was on the airplane that collided with the helicopter near Washington Reagan Airport. She was on her way back from Wichita, Kansas, where she was visiting a family member who had surgery. That's where she was coming from. She looks like she must be about 28 years old in this picture that I found. And he says, in the days and weeks since that night, basically felt like being in an emotional hell. He said, there are reminders of Kaya everywhere. Her glasses are on the nightstand, her clothes are in the closet, her little curls of hair are scattered around. I hear echoes of her voice sometimes, especially when I see something, when I want to turn to her and say, hey, check this out. And then I realize I can't do that anymore. So it's just been a new level of pain that I didn't know I could experience. And even though that pain is still fresh, Adrian wants to speak publicly, not just out of journalistic instinct, but because he says talking about this has helped him get by. He says, my hope is that I can sort of exorcise this pain that's building in my chest. I also wanted to talk about here, I think the more that I can plant just a little sense of who this person was in people's minds, the more she can live on in that sense in me. You see? You see? I mean, putting it out there. For him, that was the way. Was feeling that. Exercising this pain that's just heavy in his chest. There's a way to do that. Not to ignore it. To know it's there and acknowledge it. And to begin to let it flow in his way. By talking about her. By not losing sight of the love that she is in his life. Right? That's what I got today. I think it's been really important for me this week to realize how often I shove things down, how often I'm unaware of my own feelings at all, but they're there. And you know you're unaware of one of those hard feelings when somebody just goes like this and you explode. Or someone just touches that little scab and you're like, oh, you know, like that. Sorry. That's there. It's there for me. So I was sitting with that and consciously understanding where I am for me, and I encourage you to do that as well. So let's have a little time of meditation this morning. Let's do that. Take a deep breath in. And here we are, together, just sitting. Just sitting. Maybe, just maybe, you might begin allowing something to move that's been stuck. Or maybe you're just ready to look at it. Maybe you're not ready to let it move yet. I mean, that's a step. To roll it over in your mind, to roll it over in your heart, to know it's still there. And to know that really what you want to do is allow it to make its mark and let it go. And you might be ready, and you might not be ready. And that's okay. Let's just take a few minutes sitting here together with that thought in mind. We don't have to be afraid of our feelings. It can be hard, uncomfortable. We can feel devastated, disappointed, hurt. But we don't have to feel afraid. We can decide to trust ourselves, to trust our innate goodness, the soul of us, the God of us, however you want to think about that, the livingness of us. We can trust that. We can know that it has our back and our front and our sides, up and down. To trust that in ourselves. Oh, what a relief that we don't have to fear how we feel, but to sit with it and trust ourselves, to let it go to ground. Amen. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy. Amen. Soup's on.